You're watching Money Matters. I'm Ryan Owens in New York. If you've ever considered plastic surgery but high prices or your medical insurance are holding you back, you may be interested to know about a new and growing trend, traveling abroad for surgery. Hundreds of thousands of Americans are heading overseas, saving thousands of dollars for a little nip and tuck. Here's ABC's Betsy Stark with more.
The white sandy beaches of exotic locales have often been a place for people trying to escape the hustle and bustle of everyday life. But they're quickly becoming a hotspot for those trying to escape something else, the skyrocketing costs of health care. With millions of Americans lacking adequate insurance, many are going abroad to save on pricey medical procedures. For years, people have been traveling to tropical destinations to squeeze a little nip and tuck between some R&R. But medical tourism is expanding to more than just cosmetics, as consumers discover they can save as much as 80% on much-needed medical procedures. A heart bypass that costs around $100,000 in North America can cost as little as $7,000 in India. A $40,000 hip replacement costs less than half of that in France. Figures like that are even causing some businesses to look at out-of-country care for their employees. If you're questioning the safety of medical tourism, you are not alone. The growing trend has caught the eye of Congress, where hearings are being held on the subject.
And that was ABC's Betsy Stark reporting. Now we're joined by Jeff Schult, author of Beauty from Afar, a medical tourist guide to affordable and quality cosmetic care outside the U.S. Jeff, thanks very much for being here. I want to start with a personal experience of yours. You know this topic firsthand, right?
Yes, I do. I went to Costa Rica in 2004 for dental work I couldn't afford here in the United States.
What'd you have done, and tell me a little bit about your experience.
Well, I needed my upper teeth redone. The enamel hadn't lasted. Your teeth are supposed to last you a lifetime, and mine did not. I got 14 crowns on the tops. I had a wonderful experience in one of the best-looking dental clinics I've ever seen with terrific dentists. I ended up spending about $8,000, including my travel costs. The estimates in the United States ranged from $18,000 at a university dental clinic to on up above $30,000 for very experienced dentists.
How did you find out about that clinic, and how do other people find out about where to go for their particular problem? What sort of research is involved here?
I found out about it initially on an internet mailing list that was talking about surgeries that were being done in Thailand and the different kind of health care around the world, about medical care essentially being outsourced the same way many other things are. I did some research, looked at various countries. I chose Costa Rica, looking on the internet. I mean, the information is available, and I found that you can find out at this point as much about doctors overseas who are serving international clientele as you can really about doctors right here in the United States. They make the information available, and they're marketing to international clienteles.
And we're not just talking about cosmetic surgery, right? We're talking about everything under the sun here.
Absolutely. In Beauty from Afar, I looked first and foremost at cosmetic surgery because people have been doing it the longest, but I looked at it as the tip of the iceberg for medical care, essentially for what's becoming a global hospital.
Let's talk about safety for a minute, because I think that is obviously most people's major concern here. Talk about your experience. You said you felt great about the particular clinic that you were at, but what about some other countries, particularly not necessarily third world countries, but more impoverished countries? People would have safety concerns about heading there for these major procedures.
I think that's absolutely a concern, and they should have, and people should do their homework, look at the facilities, look at the doctors that they're going to. It's not like going down the street. Clearly, you're going abroad, you're going to some expense to go overseas, and you want to make sure you're right before you leave. But by and large, in the countries where they are serving international clienteles, we're talking about major metropolitan cities. We're not talking about going out to the country somewhere in the middle of nowhere. And in the major metropolitan cities of the world, in the countries where this is being done, you find safety standards, hospitals, facilities. The experience of the doctors are comparable to what you're going to find in the United States and Western Europe.
What happens if, God forbid, something goes wrong? Is there any recourse here as an American in another country? I take it you can't sue these doctors necessarily for malpractice, but talk to me about the sort of follow-up procedure here and what your rights are.
Well, frequently, when you talk to a doctor overseas, you're going to sign the same kind of contracts and waivers going into surgery as you would here. And surgery anywhere in the world is not necessarily safe. But if something does go wrong, certainly in the cosmetic area, the doctors, as they would here in the United States, will work with you. They want a good outcome for patients. They rely on word of mouth. It's a fee-for-services business. If something goes radically wrong, you're a long way from home, and that is a risk that you're under the laws of a foreign country. That is a risk that people have to look at. On the other hand, I've told people that if that's going to be your primary, if whether or not you can sue your doctor is your primary concern when you're going for medical care, that you probably should stay at home, and most United States doctors are going to be a little bit leery of providing services also.
It's probably a fair point. Let's talk a little bit about price here. I'm sure it varies all over the place, obviously, based on the procedure, but is there sort of a general percentage? I mean, how much can you cut your price tag on a surgery by going abroad? How much in general?
Well, I would say, and I think most responsive people would say, that you shouldn't choose strictly on price. This isn't like buying CDs. It's not a commodity.
Right.
But I would say it varies from country to country. It depends on the cost in the country in which you're going. Prices, for example, in Costa Rica are a little bit higher than they are, say, in Thailand or India. On the other hand, you're paying more travel costs. I would say, in general, you're looking, when you go abroad to the countries that are doing this, you can save anywhere from 50 on up to 80%.
All right, certainly something we're seeing more of. Jeff Schult, author of Beauty from Afar, thanks very much for being with us.
Thanks, Ryan.